Hey, welcome back to the Big Rant Show. As always, thank you for joining me. If you could, hit the subscribe button down below and let's get right to it. Now, this one's going to be a bit odd, I suppose, but it's about people that are too overly offended. The other day was April Fool's Day, of course, April 1st. Always a fun time, apparently, to pull pranks on people and joke about stuff and make people think certain things may be true that aren't. Well, a man who was on The Bachelor at one point in time, since I don't watch the show, I have no clue when the guy was on. First name Ari, I couldn't pronounce his last name if my life depended on it. But he put out a tweet the other day that basically said that he and his fiance were having a baby. He posted a picture of a woman who was obviously pregnant, without a picture of the head and everything, and said a bunny was in the oven, as it were. And apparently a lot of people were highly offended by this because he was joking. And they're like, it's so wrong to do because some people can't get pregnant. But are we not allowed to joke about anything? Because somebody else is having a bad time with something, we can't joke about it? I see jokes all the time about stuff. I see jokes about working out and how hard it is and stuff like that. I see jokes about people not being able to lose weight. Jokes about people having a hard time with this or that. And nobody gets offended by those. Nobody got offended last year or back in 2016 when Donald Trump made fun of a disabled person. No one got offended by that. So why are we so up in arms over a man tweeting out a fake "we're pregnant" joke? People, I really don't understand. I mean, we've gotten to a point that we're just so overly offended by every little detail. Every little thing that happens, we're offended by it. Americans have gotten so freaking pansy ass, it's unreal. We couldn't take a joke at all. We can't take any joke. And I think it depends on the joke. Like I watched Ricky Gervais's Humanity the other day. And I guarantee you there were a lot of people offended by some of his jokes. Meanwhile, I spent my entire time laughing my ass off. Because I thought it was hilarious. I don't think we should be concerned with somebody's April Fool's joke. An April Fool's joke isn't intended to offend anyone. It is not intended to hurt somebody's feelings. It's intended to be a little bit of fun. America, what happened to you? We used to be fun. We used to not cry every time somebody made a joke that we didn't like. We didn't used to whine every time somebody said something offensive. We used to laugh. I mean, there was, George Carlin. George Carlin, one of the best comedians ever. Yet now he would offend every single person that used to listen to him. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe we just had a run of too many comedians that made jokes about things that made people uncomfortable. I don't know. But why the hell are we getting so offended over every little joke? Every little comment that someone makes? People got lost their minds over a series of pictures that Roseanne took for a Jewish magazine for a satire piece. People lost their minds over that without trying to figure out what happened, what was going on in the picture. People get offended by everything. I spent a lot of time this last week on Roseanne Barr's Twitter feed. And no matter what she tweets, she offends somebody. I mean, come on, I even offended somebody because I dared to say that some Trump supporters were racist, but that I didn't believe Roseanne was. I got attacked by Trump supporters saying Oh, you're saying all Trump supporters are racist. That's not what I said at all, but that's what they claimed I said. Then other people were upset because, oh my, I defended Roseanne against somebody calling her a racist. And it doesn't make any damn sense. How are we going to sit here and be offended over every little thing that happens? Why don't we get offended about stuff that actually freaking matters? Why aren't we offended enough in this country about starving children, starving elderly people, homeless veterans? Why don't those make you offended? Because I hardly ever see a post on Facebook about people being offended by those things. Those are things that offend me. The mistreatment of people simply because they're not like you. They're not your race, or they're not your gender, or they don't conform to your gender norms. How about the hundreds of thousands of people that have died just in the last year to genocide? Do you see any posts on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or anything about people being offended by that? No. No, you don't. Because we're only offended by stuff that doesn't matter. We're only offended by things that don't matter. Somebody making an April Fool's joke or prank doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if somebody makes a joke, say, about how fat they are. I watched a video, or not a video, but I saw a tweet from a YouTuber talking about how fat they were. And then they got accused of fat shaming themselves. We used to be able to make jokes about stuff, no matter what it was, for the most part. There were some jokes that were a little taboo. You know, rape jokes, for example, generally aren't funny. But I'm not going to sit there and cry and whine and boycott a comedian because they make one of them. I'm not going to sit there and be offended every time somebody says something. Especially something as inconsequential of, we're pregnant, prank. Maybe I just grew up at a different time. I don't know. I don't see myself as all that old. I'm 38 years old. So yeah, I've been here been on this earth a bit, but dang, I've only been an adult for 20 years. And I don't feel like I'm that old. I don't feel like I should be that far out of the loop. But I don't know what happened in this country. I don't know why all of a sudden we get so upset over the most stupid stuff. What is the problem? Are we just so concerned about we're so concerned about how we feel that we don't let other people express who they are? There's a lot of things that I don't like about people. But I'm not going to sit there and get offended by it. You know? It doesn't make any sense. And there's a lot of other things that I don't see people getting all offended over, but they're still offended by this. So, down in the comments, let me know all the things that offend you. I would love to know, with the people that watch this channel, I would love to know what actually offends you. You know, are you offended by things like homeless veterans? Are you offended by children not being able to eat? Or are you simply offended by things like a prank claiming to be pregnant? Plus, it was April Fool's Day. How do people not understand what April Fool's Day is anymore? Did we forget what that is? I mean, I've never really partaken in it. I suck at pranks. I can't keep my mind. I can't keep my smile off my face when I'm trying to prank somebody to save my ass. So I don't partake in April Fool's Day. I don't pull pranks on people. I don't think it's worth my time because I'm not going to be any good at it. But I sure enjoy seeing some of the jokes and things like that that come out of April Fool's Day. So to this gentleman from The Bachelor, who I have no clue who you are, you shouldn't have apologized. You shouldn't have had to apologize. There was no reason for you to apologize. And of course, you did apologize. I find it to be absolutely terrible that people have to apologize over every little thing they say. Hell, I'm sure somebody will watch this video and be offended of something I said. But you know what? I don't care if I offend you. I don't care who I offend. I make it my job every day to find a way to offend somebody. Why? Because I don't like snowflakes. I don't like pansies. You know, I like people that can take a joke, that have a sense of humor, that find things funny. And if you can't take a joke, you're taking life too serious. You know, as serious as I can be over politics and things like that, I can still take jokes. You know, I sat there for 8 years watching all sorts of jokes made about President Barack Obama. Some of them were funny, some of them weren't. But when they were funny, I laughed my ass off. Same thing with Hillary Clinton, same thing with Donald Trump. I laugh at things all the time about these people. And I laugh about other things too. Like when I found out about this April Fool's joke here, I didn't even think it was funny. I didn't even think it was worth somebody to tweet. But I sure as hell wasn't offended by it. But that's really what gets me riled up at times. Is that people having no sense of humor and being offended by every little thing they see. I mean, at least get some context before you go losing your mind over something. And people, you shouldn't have to apologize every time somebody gets offended. Because as I've learned in life in my 38 years of what doesn't seem to be that long, I have learned that you can't please everybody. And you're always going to piss at least one person off. There's nothing you can do about it in life. You shouldn't have to apologize for being who you are. You know? Like, there's a lot of things that Donald Trump tweets that are very offensive to me. But I don't cry about them. Sometimes I laugh at him. And sure, some stuff he may say may be offensive. You know, like his comment over shithole countries. To me, that was kind of offensive to those people. And could be very detrimental to our standing in the world. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit there and berate the man for tweeting something that probably shouldn't have been tweeted that often. Unless it's really serious. Like he tweeted about nuclear war, about, wanting a nuclear war with North Korea at one point. That was too serious to take serious. It wasn't offense, it was anger at the fact that he didn't care. But people get offended by everything now except for the things that matter. Anyhow, that's been the Big Rant Show for you today. I've been your host, Jake, and I will see you down the road. In America, lighten up.